What if the Trade Federation won the Battle of Naboo? And there's a million different ways and scenarios in which this could turn out. It could turn out in a way where Padme and the Gungans and the Naboo actually survive and they escape the planet, or they're all wiped out. And of course, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Qui-Gon are the loose ends in this scenario as well, and so is Darth Maul. So we'll make a few assumptions here. First of all, we will make the assumption that Anakin Skywalker fails to blow up the Trade Federation battle station. That's the first assumption. Second assumption is that Nute Gunray and Rune Hakoh kill Padme Amidala, as well as the Naboo leadership and Sabe and Panaka and Sio Bibu and all of them. And so, therefore, the droid armies completely wipe out the Gungans. So the Trade Federation would win. So that's the thing we'll hold constant. But there's three different scenarios I want to look at. And so, and maybe there'll be more than three. There'll be quite a few, actually. So, assuming Anakin fails to blow up the battle station, and assuming that Padme and the others, Naboo humans, are killed, and assuming that all the Gungans are killed, what happens next to Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn? Well, we will assume that Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn are also killed by Darth Maul. Darth Maul kills them both. Meanwhile, Anakin Skywalker is alive and he's stranded in space. He doesn't know where he's going, he's completely lost. And so as Darth Maul is leaving the planet, maybe he captures Anakin Skywalker. So that will be the first scenario, but actually I'll come back to the scenario in a separate video, where I title it Darth Maul Trains Anakin Skywalker, so we won't visit this right now. So let's get to a second scenario, where Anakin Skywalker fails to blow up the Trade Federation battleship, and his ship gets blown up. He gets killed in the space battle. He gets killed in space. And so no more Anakin, no more Chosen One. And so, of course, the droid armies wipe out the Gungans, and all the Naboo people are killed, including Padme and all these poor guys. And in this scenario, let's say that Darth Maul still kills Qui-Gon Jinn, and Darth Maul still kills Obi-Wan Kenobi. Therefore, the Trade Federation would just start doing a full-on genocide in Naboo, and Senator Palpatine could use that for propaganda purposes and say, well, you see, I'm the poor senator from Naboo, and my home is getting destroyed, so please elect me Chancellor. And so Senator Palpatine would just get elected Chancellor, and that would be the case. And meanwhile, the Jedi Council, Plo Koon, Mace Windu, Yoda, Ki-Adi Mundi, Stacey Tin, Yaddle, Evan Peel, Appa Rancis, Sadi Galea, Yarrow Poof, Eth Koth, Depa Balaba, they would come to realize that, yes, in fact, Darth Maul was a Sith Lord. And Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi are now both dead. So the Jedi Council will be very stressed because, Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi are very powerful, and Darth Maul, the Sith, managed to kill them, and this was probably a Sith apprentice, so they're going to be very stressed and not know what to do. Meanwhile, Naboo would just become a Trade Federation colony, and basically everyone in Naboo would probably die, and Nemoidians and droids would probably inhabit the planet. And 10 years would pass, and during those 10 years, Darth Maul will continue to be Darth Sidious' apprentice. And I think Darth Sidious and Darth Maul would still use Count Dooku as sort of a figurehead. They would still use Count Dooku to do their dirty work, similarly to how Darth Sidious and Darth Vader used the Grand Inquisitor to do a lot of their dirty work. And they would use, and I think Count Dooku would probably answer directly to Darth Maul in this case, or maybe to Darth Sidious, and they would use Count Dooku to, of course, organize the separatist movement, the Confederacy of Independent Systems, and also organize the war effort. And the Clone Wars would still break out, except this time Darth Maul would be leading the Clone Wars with Darth Sidious, and Count Dooku would be the figurehead, and the Jedi would be super confused because they might think, well, is Count Dooku a Sith Lord, or is he not? Because, he's working for the Sith, but is he actually a Sith? And they would be so confused. And imagine if they brought in Asajj Ventress into this scenario too, that would be even more confusing for the Jedi. But let's say at the end of the Clone Wars, Darth Sidious figures that Count Dooku has outlived his purpose, so Darth Sidious orders Darth Maul to kill Count Dooku, and so Darth Maul would kill Count Dooku. And of course, just to clarify, Count Dooku would not be a Sith in this scenario. He would just be an Inquisitor-type figure. He would be used by the Sith, but he would not be an actual Sith because Darth Maul would still be in the picture. So yeah, Darth Maul kills Count Dooku at the very end, or maybe Darth Sidious and Darth Maul allow for Count Dooku to be killed by the Jedi by Mace Windu and Yoda or something, and then Darth Sidious and Darth Maul would execute Order 66. Darth Sidious and Darth Maul would march on the Jedi Temple and kill all the Jedi, and Mace Windu and Yoda would both die at the hands of Darth Sidious, and Darth Sidious and Darth Maul would win. However, this is where Mother Talzin would come in, and Mother Talzin would help Darth Maul, and Mother Talzin would regroup with Darth Maul, and Mother Talzin would launch an all-out war against Darth Sidious. And in this scenario, let's say Darth Maul has built up a power base, and of course he would, maybe they'd win, maybe they wouldn't. It's unclear. Maybe Darth Sidious would just defeat both Darth Maul and Mother Talzin and just get a new apprentice. So that's the first scenario. Second scenario is, of course, let's say that the Trade Federation wins, Anakin is blown up on the battleship, and after Anakin is blown up on the battleship, of course, the droids kill all the Gungans, and Nute Gunray and his Neimoidian and droid people, they kill Padme Amidala, as well as the Handmaidens and Panaka and Sio Bibble, and basically all of them, and all the Naboo die. But Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi manage to kill Darth Maul. They get lucky and they manage to kill Darth Maul. I think if Qui-Gon Jinn and was going to kill Darth Maul, he would make sure not to cut him in half, but rather to actually like cut him up and make sure he can't come back. So Darth Maul gets killed by Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi. And meanwhile, of course, Trade Federation does genocide on Naboo, and Senator Palpatine uses that to his political advantage and to become Chancellor. And Darth Sidious would be very sad that Darth Maul was dead, and Mother Talzin would be furious that Darth Maul is dead. But in this scenario, the Jedi Council would, of course, probably dispatch a secret force to rescue Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi from Naboo, and Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi would report back to the Jedi Council and say, hey, we managed to kill the Sith Lord, and then Yoda and Mace Windu would be like, was this the apprentice or the master? We don't know, but at least one of them is dead, so there we have it. And of course, Darth Sidious, and of course, since with no Anakin Skywalker in the picture, Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi would be very upset, especially Qui-Gon Jinn. But yes, and over the next 10 years, the Clone Wars would still be organized. I mean, they would still make preparations for the Clone Wars, and Darth Sidious would make Count Dooku Darth Tyrannus, and Count Dooku would be a Sith in this scenario. And so Qui-Gon Jinn would be very disappointed and sad that Count Dooku is leading this effort. And it's possible that Qui-Gon Jinn might try to talk to Count Dooku, or maybe not. And so what Qui-Gon Jinn, now let's say the Clone Wars still breaks out and everything. Of course, there would be no Zam Wesell or the Saber Darts or any of that, so Obi-Wan Kenobi would not be discovering Kamino in this scenario. But let's say the Clone Wars breaks out, and of course the Jedi want to join the war effort, and Qui-Gon Jinn would refuse, and I think Qui-Gon Jinn would leave the Jedi Order. Now, after Qui-Gon Jinn leaves the Jedi Order, Count Dooku would seek out Qui-Gon Jinn, and Count Dooku would try to turn Qui-Gon Jinn to the dark side, and Qui-Gon Jinn would be, sure, he's disgusted with the Jedi, but Qui-Gon Jinn would be more disgusted with Count Dooku for what he's become, and say, oh, my former master, how could you? And Qui-Gon Jinn and Count Dooku probably fight, and maybe Qui-Gon Jinn kills Count Dooku, I don't know. Okay, so we'll assume that Qui-Gon Jinn kills Count Dooku. And Darth Sidious and Qui-Gon Jinn maybe does some independent investigation, and Qui-Gon Jinn finds out that Darth Sidious is in fact Chancellor Palpatine, and so maybe Qui-Gon Jinn goes back to the Jedi Council and tells them, but it's already too late because Darth Sidious is too powerful, and he executes Order 66, and Darth Sidious just destroys the entire Jedi Order and kills everyone, including Qui-Gon Jinn, Mace Windu, and Yoda. Yoda dies, and all of them, and Obi-Wan Kenobi as well. So yeah, that might happen. Or in a scenario where, let's say that, so the third scenario that I have is Anakin Skywalker fails to blow up the battleship, and he escapes, and Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi escape, but of course the rest of Naboo is destroyed. Well, in that case, Qui-Gon Jinn would train Anakin Skywalker, and with Padme already dead, Anakin not having developed romantic feelings for her necessarily, that would probably change a lot of things. And of course, in a fourth scenario, let's say only Obi-Wan Kenobi escapes, or only Qui-Gon Jinn escapes, while the rest of Naboo is destroyed, and Anakin survives or not. So you see, there's infinite possibility for scenarios, so I don't have time to cover all of them, but I just cover the only two that I had time to cover, but we could go back to this later. Now, of course, I will do a separate video on what if Darth Maul trained Anakin Skywalker.